In this week's episode, we have made it to Portugal and we're going to give you the lowdown on PCR tests, Ryanair booking systems, passenger locator forms, and everything you need to know about travelling to a green list country from the UK at the moment.
Quite right. We also watch Crusoe roll over.
Go on then, little buddy. Go on.
And we stay in a treehouse right here.
But we also learned that green very quickly becomes amber. With less than 24 hours in Portugal, everything changed. So we've got some big decisions to make. So do we head home in a rush and join the hordes getting back before we need to quarantine on Tuesday? Or do we stick around and see what we can find in Portugal?
Stick around to the end of the episode and find out. It will be very exciting, I'm sure. We are, of course, always reminded of the Chinese proverb,
it's always about the journey, not the destination.
Quite right.
We're the Thenewbys, a family of travellers with big dreams. I'm Tara, this is John, and this year we were joined by our little boy Crusoe. 2020 sent the world for a loop, and it sent us on a journey. Not wanting to waste a single minute or second of it, we embraced van life and travelled to over 20 countries in Europe in our self-converted camper van. With the arrival of Crusoe into the world, our priorities remain the same: to make every moment matter, to take this little family around the world and to teach our children about huge horizons, a life full of opportunity and adventure around every corner. Okay, my love, you ready?
Tara's already had her up the nose and down the back of the throat swab.
Oh, this is awful. Ah! Yep, it's not nice.
Professional now.
I'm a professional. Give me the baby. So first things first, you have to wash your hands. You're going to take that swab out of its packet. Just wait a second, because you need instructions.
Okay.
And then you're going to put it in the back of your throat and wipe all around the back of your throat and your tonsils a few times.
Yeah.
And then, when that's done, you take it out and you put it up your nose until you reach a point of resistance and swish it around each nostril 5 times.
So unpleasant.
Okay, now don't touch it to anything. Put it in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, bit that bit down. There's liquid in there, so don't spill it. And break it at that point where you can see the little break point. Careful, yeah. There we go. Put that lid on. Okay.
Okay, the thing is, you really want to get that bit right, because this is costing us
60 quid each test.
60 quid each test, and if you don't get it right, invalid sample.
Yeah.
And what happens then?
That's it. You have to order another one.
Order another one, but of course you probably won't have time for another one because you know your flight's when your flight is. So that's the way of that. Okay,
now
what happens
into
then?
that tube.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now into that bag, so it's completely airtight. Put it in the box.
Okay.
The box in the bag.
So we have chosen Randoc to do our PCR tests. We need those tests before we get on an aeroplane. If you've booked your flights with Ryanair, then you can get a 50% discount code. We are now going to drive 50 minutes to Cheltenham to drop these boxes off, and that'll be the start of our journey to Portugal. Not like the old days, is it?
So the weather gods finally got the message that summer was just around the corner. It's bank holiday weekend, the sun is shining, it's the hottest day of the year so far, and we're in the car. You tell them. Not in the garden, on our way to Cheltenham, but it'll all be worth it, provided these tests are good, because we'll be off to Portugal and the sun is very definitely shining there. I am feeling really nervous because you've got to do those tests yourself, and if you've done them wrong, you just get a dud test. I'm just like replaying, did I swab enough in my throat? Did I swab enough in my nose? We've done it now, fingers crossed. We'll find out before 5 o'clock tomorrow evening if we are able to go or not. 1, 2. That was easy. Located at the security office at the Cheltenham racecourse are the Randox drop boxes. Just chuck them in and hope for the best.
Cheltenham racecourse. What a shame we're not here to watch some horses.
No, quite right. But for now, home, James.
And don't spare the horses.
You stole my line. Oh man. Anyway, don't spare the horses. I think it's time to go home for a cider in the sun. What do you reckon?
I think that's a jolly good idea. Come on, we got 48 minutes.
48 minutes.
Let's go.
Yes! My results have just come through and I'm also negative, so we are off to Portugal tomorrow. Super quick. I mean, we dropped those off yesterday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and we've got our results. It's now 9:30 in the morning.
This time tomorrow we'll be heading towards Portugal.
Can't wait.
Can't wait. Tara's just headed upstairs to start packing for our trip. We are on a Ryanair flight this afternoon. We are now checking in, and gosh, it's been hard work. We've had to fill in a few forms as well. Proof of a PCR test, and of course, the form that you need to fill in before you get to Portugal. On top of the already expensive PCR test, I think we're running already, before we've even got on an aeroplane, at £350 more expensive for this holiday than it should have been.
So, the job of packing is left up to Crusoe and I. Now, because the costs of everything are already spiralling out of control, as John said, we are not taking any checked-in luggage. So we've got a 10-kilo check-in bag, and we each have a backpack, Crusoe's nappy bag, and then according to Ryanair, we're allowed to take his car seat and one other baby item, so that will be his bed. I've got to try and fit all three of us, our clothes, for 2 weeks into 10 kilos and 2 backpacks. Wish me luck. So, first things first, this is just Crusoe's packing. I'm going to have to strip it back a tiny bit because I don't think there's going to be room for all of our things, my boy. Just dug the backpack out from under the bed, and it is revoltingly dusty. Goes to show how long it's been since we last travelled. Right, bag is dusted, and also dusted out of the cupboard. Squeeze bags. Now, if you've watched our other videos, you'll know we love these. So I think if we can get a squeeze bag per person, we'll be doing well. Well, that's a result. Crusoe stuff fits just fine. And I reckon there's space for a bit of ours too. Now the real fun starts, because this is the big people clothes, and I'm not very good at packing that. That's not all coming, is it?
Just come upstairs to do some surveying, and it looks like it's going pretty well. We've got 3 squeeze bags worth of stuff. This is our main 10-kilo bag. I purchased this a long time ago. It's an Osprey one, and it is exactly the right size to max out on the space that Ryanair and EasyJet let you have. It's also soft, so you can just squeeze it into the places in the overhead cabin compartments, so really recommend that. 3 squeeze bags. Carla's doing very well. We've just got a little bit of makeup and fancy stuff to put in bags. And then I think we're done. What do you say, Crusoe? Hey, there we go. I think that's a yes.
Ha, we've made it out the house.
It was a little bit traumatic. Crusoe is not in the best of moods, so he's not started particularly well this journey.
Bless him, he was fast asleep, then woke up, should have been put back to sleep, but instead got hauled into the car seat in a hot car while we ran around trying to load the car. Anyway, goodness knows what we've packed. There are many bags and they feel heavy, so we got to check that out. We were going to get a bus and then a train, but as one of our neighbours said, are you actual masochists?
Birmingham's about an hour's drive from our house, and the reason why we were going to do that is because we couldn't find any airport parking which would take a van. It was all just for cars, with height limits and length limits as well.
Anyway, we did manage to find something called Your Parking Space, and we're parking our van in someone's driveway, which is a 25-minute walk across a field to Birmingham Airport.
Tara's screaming ahead right now. I'm running to catch her up. We've just parked the van on somebody's drive. That app is pretty decent. That's 50 quid for 2 weeks to park it there. So it's actually even cheaper than parking a car in one of the airport car parking places. That's very good. We did it.
Come on then, Crusoe. Desktop security.
That wasn't too bad, and actually Ryanair were quite efficient with that. They made sure that we got all our documents in order before we get to the gate.
Yeah, make it easier. Have a passport?
Brilliant. Well done, Crusoe. That's it. We've made it to Portugal. All we've got to do now is find where we're supposed to be staying. Yay! I don't think it's far away. Just around the corner.
So great. I just heard a bunch of people speaking another language. It made me so happy.
Great.
It's been a weird old afternoon. We'll tell you more about it in a second, but for the moment we are off-roading into some really crazy place. I think you're going left here, darling. Hang on a minute.
Tara's in the back seat because when you're not driving around in a van, you only have 2 seats at the front and 2 seats at the back.
Poor us first-time parents, but we don't want Crusoe to have to sit in the back by himself.
We've been in Portugal for less than 24 hours.
And have just found out that Portugal has been put on the amber list by the UK.
What? Can you believe it?
I tell you what, the world is in a state.
So we've got a couple of choices.
Our options are to rush home, today is Thursday, and get home before Tuesday and avoid having to do 10 days in quarantine. Or to stay and carry on with our plans and reevaluate when the next thing comes up in 3 weeks and just stay in Europe, making the most of the summer.
Yeah, that would mean that we would be touring around Europe without a van. It's going to cost us a little bit extra. It seems like the restrictions in place for the Portuguese are fairly similar to the restrictions that are in place for the UK. Lots of mask wearing, social distancing, of course, free to travel through the country though, which is important. There are red zones and amber zones that we'll have to take care of. And by the looks of things, crossing over to Spain is also a possibility. Could that be Crusoe's country number 4?
Who knows? But anyway, stay tuned and we will figure it out.
We will figure it out.
Before we get too doom and gloom about the state of affairs though, the reason I'm in the back getting jiggled about like something chronic is because we're staying in this place. It is super cool. Check it out.
We've
arrived. Crusoe, do you fancy staying in a tree house?
In a what?
In a tree house. Shut up. Check it out.
What? That is so cool.
Isn't it amazing?
Yeah. Swiss Family Robinson, I love it.
Absolutely beautiful. Come on then.
Come in.
quite like waking up in a treehouse.
It's pretty magic.
Just waiting for a baboon to climb that tree or something.
Yeah, it feels like we're on safari in Africa.
It does. What's the plan for today?
Figure out what our next plan is for the rest of the month in Portugal.
We've got Carla sending us an itinerary.
Today Crusoe's been learning how to roll over.
He just managed.
He just managed.
His first ever roll.
Perfect timing for living in a treehouse. Yes!
Clever boy!
Clever boy! Well done!
You're so
Well
clever,
done!
Matthew.
Come on, little man, that's cause for celebration. You can have a pint.
Well done, you! Hey? You clever boy! Did you do it? Well done, Crusoe.
We've decided to stay in Portugal and let everybody else fly home. We don't want to do the quarantining and we don't want to cut this adventure short.
No. There's a chance we will have to quarantine anyway when we eventually head back to the UK, but rather do that after 4 weeks in Europe and enjoying the sunshine than 4 days in Portugal.
Of course, it's not van life, so we will be finding different ways to travel and finding different places to stay, like this place where the treehouse is.
Bless you. It's not how we had planned to explore Portugal, but it is what it is, and we like to find opportunity and obstacles, and so that's what we've done.
Exactly.
If you haven't already, please hit the thumbs up if you've enjoyed this video. Leave us a comment because we love to hear from you, and hit that subscribe button and join us. And we will see you next week.
See you next week.